create this longing for a better world. And what Eva said, to make this moment with the audience, to come together, we give our impulse via theater, and then we also want to talk and think about how can we do it better. So maybe this can frame it a little bit, what we are aiming for.
That's very interesting. And it's also interesting that Heiner Müller comes up again without any clue, really, from my side, because the first episode, when we had the actor Stefan Müller-Titel, he also asked me if he can say something about Heiner Müller. So and I agree totally. Heiner Müller is probably one of the 2 or 3 most important playwrights of the German-speaking playwrights of the 20th century. I can only recommend everyone to read his stuff. You will be surprised. I think one of the other ones that I would count to the top 5, let's say, of German-speaking playwrights in the 20th century and also in the 21st. In that case, is Elfriede Jelinek. And Eva, you made a play about of Elfriede Jelinek, and we're going to get to this as well, because it's very interesting also towards our namesake in the Zentrum, Goethe. And it illustrates very well how the content of theater really, at least in German-speaking countries, has changed over the few centuries that are between Goethe and Elfriede Jelinek, for example. But before that, since we were talking, if I was talking about interaction, now is the right time again to open your camera. And now we're going to do our first interactive measure. This is theater, ladies and gentlemen. So open up. I know. And whoever wants to. And what we're going to do now is you're going to disappear right away again, because I want you to kind of block your camera. Some of you know this already when you have been there in the first episode. Next time I'm going to come with a new game, but today we're going to do this again. So nobody sees anyone then. And then I'm going to ask some very simple questions. And I'm going to ask them in German first, and then maybe as well in English. And if your answer is yes, oder ja auf Deutsch, then you take away your hand and we see who is in the same boat. If your answer is no, then you just keep your hand where it is in front of the camera. Okay. Very simple questions. For example, Nummer 1, sprechen Sie Deutsch? All right. Sehr gut. Whoever hasn't taken away their hands now and needs the English translation, no, then you don't. So, again, your hand back. Okay. Gehen Sie gern ins Theater? All right, surprising answers. Good, I'm glad to see that. Again, hand back. Now we get a little personal. So, and probably if there's somebody from Germany, it's more likely that we will say ja than those who are not, but it's possible. Haben Sie heute Wein getrunken? Ein Glas Wein. So nobody shows the truth, or you actually haven't had a wine. Did you have a glass of wine today? Okay, good. The last question maybe. First in German. Freuen Sie sich auf 2021? That was a simple one. Okay, perfect. Are you looking forward to 2021? Was my question. Okay. I don't know why you don't want to be in 2020 anymore, but there might be personal reasons. By the way, 2020, how is the situation in Germany right now? And in Marburg especially?
Yes, at the moment,
the theater are in a lockdown. We are not open. We are not allowed to play at the moment for the society. It's because, yes, the schools are open and you can go to the supermarket, but that's all. You can't go into a restaurant or anything else. And so we can't open our theater at the moment.
But we are allowed to rehearse, which is quite a luck. So we are working ahead and hoping next week the Chancellor, Madame Merkel, is considering the next step. So we hope that we can open up again, because we really did a lot of work to do hygienic concepts, and we only played for like a quarter of the amount of people in the audience, but still we were there. And so we hope they change it in December, but we are not sure, because the how do you say, the incident is very high, and maybe they keep it closed. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the infection rate basically is very high. No?
Yes, the infection rate is quite high also in our city. But nevertheless, we are very happy that nobody got corona in our theater. We are like 70 people and 30 guests all the time. So we are very happy that we are still all safe. And yeah, we hope that we can open soon again. But now it's a little sad.
Here in America, it's really, the theaters closed in March, and there might be regional differences, but basically since then they have been closed for good. Yeah. So there was not even a little bit of anything. They are now starting to, for example, I lived in Miami before, and I know one very good theater there. They're now trying to do that in window, in shops, and then in the windows they do monologues there, and you can hear it through earplugs, for example. So these are ways that, of course, Zoom productions are exploding, but these are kind of the ways that they do it. But of course, everything seems a little. There is new creativity, but it's not the theater that we know. Yeah. We're going to get back to that topic actually when we talk about the theater of Marburg, a bit more specific. But I wanted to talk a little bit now about the two plays that I mentioned before. So, Carola, you did a take on The Wizard of Oz, and I'm going to share the screen now. This The Wizard of Oz is really, I think, one of the staples of American culture, and of course of global culture. And I'm trying now to move and you actually changed the title. So I want to explain to everyone, the literal translation of The Wizard of Oz is Der Zauberer von Oz. So, and you added a tiny little word, not so little, but it seems to be very important because it's in all capitals. Der wonderful, in English even, Der wonderful Zauberer von Oz. Why did you do this? And anyway, what did you want to try to express in the play?
Well, it's a little bit hard.
That goes back to I think it goes back to your motivation to do theater, and then also to your motivation, how you plan a season for a theater, a year-long season, and so on.
Yeah. Well, the whole myth of the Wizard of Oz was quite inspiring, because those three, like, I don't know, figures, the lion and the Scarecrow and the Iron Man, like symbolize the Tin Man, symbolize this character. How do you say, adjectives like braveness, courage, and brain, and sensibility.
Yeah. And we actually have them here.
And Dorothy, we only had 4 actors, we didn't have the budget for more. And we actually were wondering, what is this yellow brick road she's walking on, and what does it mean in our society to walk the yellow brick road, and what is she, whom is she meeting, and what are the challenges she's confronted with. And actually it was quite a reflection of our society in capitalistic economic system. Yeah, let's put it like that. And in the end of the day, we combined the myth of the Wizard of Oz with King Kong, who took away the white lady in his arms. There you see them on the Yellow Brick Road. There you see her with King Kong. And actually it was my search to combine political questions, economic questions with an entertaining style. So we had music, we had dance, we had lots of light stuff with a little budget. So it's very poor, but I think what still accompanies me from this play is the search, how can you entertain people and still reflect society? Yeah. And we try to do that, and yeah, so and that's it.
They are on the way on the yellow brick road there. Yeah.
Yes, through the city of light, and yeah. But you see, it's very poor design.
Yeah.
We made it ourselves. I remember our prop designer painting herself. So yeah.
Well, it looks nice, actually. I like it. I like this more simplistic style. And this actually goes again also a little bit back to the Bond girls. Not only one of the but I think you mentioned somebody is saving the woman, and the white woman, of course, and not any other woman. And here in America, I think that is something to think about, really, in these days of Black Lives Matter, as well as Me Too, no? So what is actually presented in our myths and our stories, like subconsciously, that we don't even realize until somebody from the theater puts it on the stage and really shows it to us in a way that is on top of it, entertaining. Is that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Or?
I would agree, absolutely. I think it's, you know, we chose the picture. This was actually the end picture, which is very famous, also a myth, the King Kong who takes the white woman away, but also the foreign aspect, somebody strange, maybe an animal, maybe somebody you can't really catch. And it was the question, where do we go actually? Where do we go with all that consume? Do you say consume?
Consummation. Consumption. Consumption, yeah.
And all the amusement, and how do we deal with all that? And of course it's art. We didn't give an answer, we just put the question.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, really. Yeah. And that's when political theater is interesting, when it doesn't want to answer the questions, but just ask the questions. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. It's hard to answer sometimes. Okay. And Eva?
Yes.
You, and this is, we are the Goethe-Zentrum. You did a lot of work, obviously, and you mentioned already also in the area of what is going on in the society. Our namesake, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, is our namesake because he's basically of my center, because he's the kind of, you could easily say, the German Shakespeare. Huh? Actually interesting, he wrote a lot of different things, but really his probably most famous work is a play for theater, Faust. And it's a tragic play in 2 parts. It's super long. We talked about this a little bit last time as well. And it has 3 actually main characters. Faust, who is a professor in, in his later stage of life, and there's Mephisto, who is kind of the devil, and there's a really a young girl, definitely underage, And she is kind of the love object, if I would say, of Faust, of this older professor. And her name is Gretchen. And that is kind of the big German play, if you will, for all its, but it's not unproblematic. And you chose a play to direct a few years ago by Elfriede Jelinek, who is, this brings us to Austria, really, one of the biggest German-speaking playwrights of the 20th and 21st centuries, and actually a Nobel Prize winner for literature. And she's a very interesting author. So, and you chose a play of hers that deals basically with that Faust myth or Faust play.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yes, that's
and
right.
what interested you in that?
Yes, the play is named Faust In and Out.
Yeah.
She's playing the title of Goethe's Faust and makes Faust in and out. And this is very special because she wants to sign this in and out, who is in and who is out, who is a victim and who is a somebody who is in the society, the big boss, maybe like Faust. And also it's in Germany, yes, you can tell it better, the Silbe für das Weibliche, Faustin.
Yeah, exactly. So
Faustin,
yes. For the German students here, you know that typically every profession is its base name. Almost all of them are like are masculine, obviously, because language reflects society, and if the society is patriarchal, then the language reflects that as well. So often, if the woman does a job, for example, your jobs, intendant, der Intendant is the artistic director of a theater and traditionally a man. But you are not der Intendant, you both are either each die Intendantin. So you add the IN and it becomes a woman magically. And Elfriede Jelinek used this IN to make Faust female, but also to use this play on in and out, right? That's what I understand.
Yes, that's right. And so there are, it's a wonderful language in all the plays of Elfriede Jelinek. If you want to study German language, German plays, you have to read Elfriede Jelinek, and you can do this on her homepage because she's a very democracy also, because you can read everything from her. You don't have to go and buy it. You can read it on her homepage, and so you can read Faust in and out. And it's very interesting because she plays always with a subject of Faust and Goethe, and everybody who knows Goethe hears the wonderful sentences of Goethe as well, and she make plays with the language, and you get new ideas to think about the same thing. And this is very interesting, and it's a lot of words, and you have to make it very fast. It's very interesting to speak Elfriede Jelinek very fast, and for me it's a very good view on world with a feminist view. Yes. And I think it's a best author, one of the best authors of the world.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree, definitely. Very challenging as well sometimes to read. Yeah. And she's big in word games. I mean, she does a lot of these word games, like Faustin, in a really subtle way sometimes. I wanted to actually to share, since you mentioned that she takes original Goethe sentences and she turns them into her own sentences with a different, basically, meaning. I wanted the audience to see some of, you see my research, but really some of the production photos. And the two of you actually made me aware that this is, I think, one of you knows the original by heart of this sentence, by my dear German students. Read it for yourself. Schönes Fräulein, darf ich's wagen. Beautiful girl or something like that. May I dare? And then it goes on, and that's where Goethe and Jelinek split. What is the original? Schönes Fräulein, darf ich's wagen?
In meine Begleitung
Arm und Geleit.
Arm und Geleit anzutragen.
Yeah, basically to offer you my assistance and basically leadership. So that's Goethe. And Jelinek, what does she say?
Schönes Fräulein, darf ich's wagen, Ihnen meine Prügel anzutragen.
Yeah, so this is another kind of, nowadays you would say Me Too perspective, but really, of course, Me Too is, should have always been there already. So schönes darf ich's wagen, may I dare to offer you some beating, to beat you. Yeah. So that is basically Jelinek's approach on this very famous quote of Goethe. And I think that illustrates very much already where this goes. I show you some other, that's the same. So you integrated that very famous quote into the stage design. Was that, but there are others. So that's very good for German students. You actually can read it. Die Weiber, that's an old term and nowadays a derogative term for the women. Die Weiber. It's so. Is it only my impression, or there are only women on the stage? Is that that was probably a decision?
It's right. There were three actors, three female actors.
Yeah. So no Faust anywhere, or?
They are Faustinnen.
Oh, okay.
So there were
exactly.
three Faustinnen.
Yeah.
And three Gretchen as well.
And three Gretchen. So, yeah. Yeah, as for the audience to remember, Faust in the original is an older, powerful person, also a very interesting person. But his object of desire is really a young girl. I think she's 14 or something.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
yeah,
and
it's actually a Me Too story, you know. I mean, she's getting pregnant and she murders her mother and her child and ends up in the, how do you say, Gefängnis?
In jail?
Jail, and dies.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So that's German literature is not always upbeat. Let's put it that way, or drama. But yeah, exactly. So that's sorry.
The special thing about Faust is that he's like celebrated the genius philosopher and habe nun auch Philosophie, Theologie studiert und hier stehe ich nun, ich Amateur und bin so klug als wie zuvor is one of the most famous quotes from this play, and it's never about this abuse. It's always about the man searching for the deeper idea of world and forgetting about what he's actually doing. So the Mephisto tempts him, and I think, yeah, that's often forgotten how deep rotten this story is. I'm sorry to say that, but how rotten.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, and it's true. It's true. I think before, I mean, I was aware of that, but before I heard of that Jelinek play, really, I didn't know that how deep it could go, really. Yeah, if you actually analyze it. And so I think we established pretty well why you're doing theater, that it has a mission for you. And I think that's not true for every German theater maker, obviously, but for many it is actually, especially the attempt is not only to entertain, but also really ask the questions and really ask difficult questions, I guess is how we would say that. And this leads, thank you. And this leads us really to the, to this, because this is where you're working right now. This is why you are together. And we know, all of us, we know HTML or whatever, so the computer acronym, but HLTM, that's Hessisches Landestheater Marburg. And I think I have to share something different, otherwise you won't see it. It's sometimes with Zoom a little bit tricky. Now you should see a picture. Hessisches Landestheater Marburg. So that is where you're working right now.
Yes.
And you mentioned already you have like 70, plus minus 70 people in your staff. So it's a big organization, really. And its acronym is HLTM, which I find really difficult to say because I always think of theater, of computer.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah.
If you look in the back, I mean, you only see portraits, but these are all our people working here. We have 18 actors and actresses, and we have like 2 carpenters, which is a little department, but we have from all a little, but very good ones. So we have 2 carpenters, we have a costume department, we have a mask department, we have how do you say, a metal workshop. We have technicians, we have light designers, we have sound designers, and we have like a public relation department, which is 1 person, but a very super department, even with 1 person.
Yeah,
and we have like theater pedagogics, which is also very important. We work together with lots with schools. And yeah, so we are 70 fixed engaged people. Do you say that? Fixed engaged?
Yeah, yeah. Active.
And then, of course, we ask directors and costume designers and how do you say?
Yeah, props.
Stage designers to come and work with us for projects. So all in all, we have like 70 fixed people and 30 guests a year.
Yeah.
So
about 100 people are working here in a year.
And you see here our entrance. We have like a big stage for 400 people and a smaller stage for 100 people. And then we also have in the city another place where we are the permanent guest we could put like 1,000 people in there, but we don't do it. So and we have a little one for kids plays for 50 people.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
And there's also another room outdoor called Schlossparkbühne, and there's also for 1,000 people. It's outdoor. It's an outdoor place, very near to the castle of Marburg. Pretty.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually, these numbers show, you know, theater is really nothing for the for people who have their head only in the air, as many people think. No, there's a lot of organization, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of really craft behind having a good production, having a theater that actually brings something up every night, basically. And you are the 2 heads of this theater since 2018.
18.
Well, actually, I heard that you would be the bosses, so to speak, in 2016. Funny enough.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been elected in 2016, and then we had like a year preparation time, and then we took over, so to say. And since, I mean, it also needed this time because we are doing like 15 to 18 premieres a year. And we do not only play in Marburg, but also in all Hessia. Do you say
Yeah,
that?
Hessen,
In the
yeah,
whole
Hessia. Yeah, I think you're right, Hessia. Yeah.
also in other parts of Germany. So we have like, I don't know, 10% of our income via guest plays in other cities.
Yeah.
So we put everything on the LKW, how do you say, on the big
Yeah, on the
transport,
truck. Yeah.
on the truck, and then we go to another city, build it up there, and our actors are coming and we do it there.
Yeah.
So
It's an enormous logistic thing then, I know. Yeah.
it's a
That
very
brings me,
special
yeah,
special way of theater structure. We have like the big theaters in the cities which have opera and ballet and acting, and we have only acting, but we move around. So
yeah,
maybe it's also interesting. We are funded by the state, by the city of Marburg, and by the district of Hessen. So.
yeah. Since you're mentioning that, thank you. You provided me with a PDF, I think, about the structure, and this is really very different from America, dear American friends. How does this actually look like in Germany, and where are you in this part here? So that's also a little bit of German for the German students. The difference, just the sound, it drives German learners crazy, the difference between Staat and Stadt. So Staatstheater is a theater that is, as it says, funded by the state. That means by the federal state. So let's say Georgia would fund in mainly one theater. That is then the Staatstheater. Then you have Stadttheater. Stadt means city. So that's in a city. So Atlanta, for example, would fund this theater. And then, oh no, sorry, Staatstheater, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Staatstheater is the national, is funded mainly by the government of Germany, and maybe also of the government of the federal state, Georgia. Stadttheater is the city, and Landestheater, and that's where you're kicking in, I think, is Land, Bundesland, is the federal state alone, and the cities that are and the districts that are funding that Landestheater. So you could compare, so Hessen, you are the Hessisches Landestheater, is one Bundesland, one federal state, and Georgia, comparable to Georgia, for example, which is a federal state.
Yeah. Far smaller, far
Huh?
smaller, far smaller.
Far smaller, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But although by population, maybe not that much smaller, but it probably a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's interesting. We have 123 theaters with this funding of state, cities, and cities districts, and get the money of this way. And the Landestheater, we have 23 in whole Germany, and in Hessen, in our district, there's only one. So we are the only Landestheater for this district.
So
that's very important because of what we have to do. Because you have other districts in Germany, you have 3 Landestheaters, and it's a little bit other working.
So you serve a lot of constituents, so a lot of audience, and
yeah. I mean, this is quite interesting because we have in Marburg like a very academic audience. We have lots of students here in Marburg. Like the city has 80,000 inhabitants, and we have like 25,000 students. So this is quite something. But then we also go to other areas which are kind of rural. And there's a question in the chat. I see why in Marburg it's smaller than other cities in Hessen. Yes, that's true. Well, you have the big theater, Staatstheater in Wiesbaden, which is the main capital of the district, and in Darmstadt, which is also a very big city. And in Frankfurt, of course, we have a city theater, a very famous one. And then they realized that the rural areas are not really satisfied with culture. So they needed like a theater who is offering cultural stuff for those rural districts. And they chose Marburg because it's in the middle of the north. And first of all, it was decided that we care for the northern part of Hessen. And they wanted to find a city in the south, but then they decided, well, Marburg can do it all. So that's
yes, but you're right with the question, because Hessen, it's a small district of Germany, and we have three very big one Staatstheaters in Kassel as well, and Frankfurt, and all people have very big houses, and we are the small one of the six big theaters in Hessen. We are the smallest one.
Oh, that's interesting. And you're traveling. I have a question to the funding. Two actually. What's the advantage and what's the disadvantage? And I'm asking about the disadvantage of being funded mainly by the government, basically, of whatever size. And I'm asking that first of all because I know both of you worked also in the Freie Szene a lot, which has a totally different funding, much more like in America, everyone, I would say. I think in America, everyone is Freie Szene, even the Broadway houses. That's kind of everything we have in America, basically. And you see all of this, Staatstheater, Stadttheater, Landestheater, is very specific German. I can imagine that Americans would argue, or at least suspect. So you're funded by the government of whatever size. Do they have influence on your work? Don't they want you to show, what they like? Especially, that's an issue maybe in such a bipolar, I want to say, country like America, where we basically have two parties and that's it. In Germany, we have a bit more variety there. But is there an influence? Do you feel the influence? Is that a disadvantage, really? Or is it something else? And what's the big advantage, actually?
First, I would say it's freedom. First, I think we are the director of this theater, and we get the money from all people of Germany, and we have to make our art. So nobody says from the government, you have to make this play or this play or this play. It's only in the end of the year, the money must work. But if we do this with 5 musicals and 4 plays of Goethe, we could do, but we wouldn't do. But you know what? We are free.
Yeah.
They have the right to search the artistic directors. So the government makes like a commission, and they chose, for example, us, and they gave us the order to run this theater, and we are artistically free. But of course, like Eva said, we have like a contract with the government, and we have to do such and such much plays. We have to offer, or we have to prove that we have such and such much audience. We have to prove, for example, this theater in special, that we work together with schools, that we do theater education. So there are kind of like rules we have to care for. But the artistic things are free.
But it's a wonderful situation we have in Hessen and Marburg, because the political leaders are very open for theater. In other districts of Germany, there are other problems. There are political labels with a thinking and yes, you know, the AfD makes problems in some theaters, but in Marburg there's no problem at the moment.
And I mean, what is really important to mention is that the German theater system, it's difficult as a German person to be proud of being German with our history and all, you know.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
the German theater system really is something very special. And in comparison with Great Britain or with French, we are really in a very privileged situation. Yeah, because we really can work in kind of a safe space. So with the German text, we really have the possibility to do art. And this is good because I think art is important. Art is important for a nation, for the people. But I'm very, very grateful for that. Yeah, so it's both. We have
Yeah,
like
that's interesting. You know,
also something to be very grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. When I moved to 10 years ago, I moved to Miami, and I, you know, thought I would do some theater there as well. And I really ran against walls right away because it's so much harder to get something going, especially if you don't do what everybody does, so to speak. And my style is not very narrative, so it doesn't necessarily have an end, a beginning and an end and stuff like that. So it's not like a Hollywood movie, let's say. And it's really hard to find an audience or even sponsors for that, because they are afraid to invest in something like that because they know it's not going to work. And my experience as well is, I mean, you cannot produce in Germany. You cannot produce just for your own good. You have to produce for the audience, no? But you get the chance to educate your audience a little bit, to show them new forms, other forms, and I think that's what I learned to really appreciate about the German system more than when I lived in Germany and worked in German theater in Germany. I noticed that really after I had moved to America.
Yeah, maybe it's because you have a longer time to go with a team of actors and actresses, and with a team of all the theater people and your audience. And we have a contraction for 5 years, so we can go 5 years with our audience to learn together. So that's right. So you can make something special, and the people said, oh, I don't like it, but they have another chance, and we as well.
Yeah, I think that's the main difference, really. That's pretty good. Yeah, that leads us to the question: So you say you're free in your decisions, so that might be true from outside, but you are in your head and you have your team. So what are your decisions based on, let's say, for a season? How do you choose plays? When do you start planning the season? And what is your thought process about deciding really which plays we're going to see for the whole next 12 months? Who will be the actors? Who will be the directors and everything? Is there a short answer or a mid-short answer? Or
mid-short answer. First of all, it's like that we have to offer for a broad audience. So we can't only do into musical, or we cannot only do contemporary plays. So we have to do like a variety of offers to our audience, to reach them, to reach a lot of people. This is the first thing to know. And we also want to be there for a lot of people, because we would like to have very low barriers for people to come in, for people to receive theater as a part of their lives, actually, in the best case, in the very best case. So we are like a team, we two, And then we have 4 dramaturgs and like a very special kind of of part. She's called the ambassador of collaboration and nonsense. And she's like
These theater people, you know.
yeah, she's like a philosopher of the theater, and and the 7 of us or 8 of us, I don't know. We first of all try to think ahead. What could be really the point we have to face our fingers on? What is the wound we have to face our fingers on? And when we come to kind of a consensus, a thought or an idea, like in the second year we called our season realities, and we wanted to face different realities of people, of lives, of of society. And when we have this idea, we think, okay, what could we offer for the big audience? What could be an entertaining part? What could be a contemporary part? And then we read a lot, we discuss a lot. We also have a look who are interesting directors we want to work with, what are their interests. Then we listen to our ensemble of actors and ask them, what do you, in which direction you want to develop yourself. And so we create a program, a scheduled program. And this is actually prepared like a year before we really do it, because we also have to sell. We also have to sell guest plays. So this is kind of the midterm answer to your question.
Yeah, very good. So it takes 1 year. So you are in the plannings for 2021, 2022 now.
Yeah, nearly finished already.
So tell us what will we be interested in 2021? What's your theme? Do you have a theme already, or?
Well, yeah, we have, but theater people are very abergläubisch. It's a nice.
I see. Yeah. Okay, superstitious. Theater people are superstitious. I can agree with that. Okay, we won't say it, but you know it already, maybe.
Yes, we won't say it, you know it already. But come to Germany, visit us.
Exactly. Tell the coronavirus.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Corona is now really like a new impulse in the whole planning thing, because of course we have lots of plays which are finished but couldn't come to premiere. So we put them like in the drawer, and we are just waiting to pull out the drawer and put them out.
Yeah.
But we don't know how it will go. So maybe we have to cut off some ideas, and we have to cancel projects we already planned. We'll see.
I think it's a little bit interesting that our last season was realities, and then comes Corona, and Corona goes and goes, and this season this is our moment, and so this is our moment means every time when we can open, now we have to play our moment this evening. And maybe 2 days later, it's everything changed. So we have to be very variable and be in the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, we have to be. Yeah, it's either you take every Corona day or as a moment, or it's all a big bubble now, and it all looks the same. That's probably the decision our minds have to do a little bit.
There's a question in the chat if there's special Corona funding, and maybe we could just have a quick answer to that. We as governmental funded theaters are in a quite good position, because we are only missing our incomes, which is quite a lot. But in Germany, you have this tool, which is called Kurzarbeitergeld. It's called short-term workers' money. So if a factory or something doesn't have the income which it has planned to get, you can ask the government for the Kurzarbeitergeld. And in fact, first time in theater history, theaters asked for this money. So our people do not work as much as they used to do, but they still get the same money because we get a special money from the government and also from Berlin. It's not from Wiesbaden, which is Hessen, but we get it from Berlin, which is very special.
The national government.
Yeah. It's a national, yes.
Genau.
So in the moment, our people are still paid like they used to be, but the foundation is a different one.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows actually how we can cope with those less income. Nobody knows. So we keep on working and we try to keep on offering culture when we are allowed to. And on the other hand, we also try to work a little less and get this money. I read you also have it in Germany, furlough in US.
Okay. Furlough, yeah, the furlough is similar, I think, yeah, but it's not as much a tool as in Germany. And there's this other thing here now with Corona that where you got I forget the name, but when you lost your job, you got, or sometimes when you didn't have, when you were under a certain limit, then you got some additional money. But this is running out and it's very complicated and the systems crash because they didn't know this kind of system before here in America. It's in Germany, though, this Kurzarbeitergeld has been existing for decades. So it's not because of Corona. It's just that, so for example, seasonal workers like in the tourism industry and so on, they tend to get Kurzarbeitergeld. Let's say they're working in the summer seasonal tourism branch, then they will get that money during winter or something to keep them. So basically to keep the consumption going so that the businesses really have still customers and people can live. And yeah, here in America, that's a big deal, very new, very fresh, and very disputed, really. And it's kind of locked right now in the parliament, in the House and the Senate.
Yeah, but it's also important to mention we have a really, really big scene, theater scene, and those artists are really, really in a bad position because they don't have the possibility to ask for this Kurzarbeitergeld. We can do it because we are kind of a factory from the economic system.
Yeah.
So they've made now a foundation which is a bit difficult to ask for, but it's called solo Selbstständiger. So
solo freelancers.
Freelancers,
basically.
yes.
Yeah.
They can ask for some money, but it's for them it's really difficult. And we as a theater try to, we have like guests, we have freelancers working for us, and we really try to keep them in contact and keep them in projects so we can offer some kind of solidarity. But we are the lucky ones in the moment, and this is really sad to say because there are lots of theaters who won't make it through Corona. Sure, and we really have to deal with it in the coming years. What will happen with this system? I'm not too sure. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah, it really hits the theater and all places that are about community, you know, really at its core. I agree. I actually, friends of mine in Miami, they just closed their theater a week ago for good.
Yes.
Because of Corona. Yeah. I wanted to show 2 or 3 trailers. I won't show them in completely, but I wanted to give the audience the chance to see a little bit of your work. Of course, trailers never represent all the work, and also trailers are not the stage. I personally don't like. I like trailers, but I don't like theater on screen. That's my problem in doing the Zoom a little bit. But because for me, theater personally is body and space, and But I want to show some trailers so that you have an idea. And we start with a trailer that has an interesting title. What's the full title? It's
Diese Mauer fasst sich selbst zusammen und der Stern hat gesprochen. Der Stern hat auch etwas gesagt. It's a play of Miroslava Svolikova, also an Austrian author.
Yeah, like Jelinek. Why did you choose that? What is it about? Just in 2 words or 3 words.
It's about Europe and the unity of Europe.
Okay. The title is awesome, but I won't translate it now because I have no clue how to translate this really.
Schicht um Schicht um Schicht um Schicht kommt der Kern.
It's my party, and I cry if I
Der
want to.
Kern nicht
Cry
endlich
if I want to.
Schicht
Cry if I want to.
und Schicht.
It's my party,
Kein Kern.
it's my party, and I cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. Cry if I
The
want
Stern means the star. So the star has spoken
to. It's my party, cry if I want
and he also said something.
to. It's my party,
I would recommend everyone to
cry if I want to.
get into this.
If I want to.
It's very interesting to me. Just the title per se.
You know,
Sorry?
the star refers to the European stars, the 12 European stars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In the wall, there are a lot of walls in Europe as well, not
Yeah.
only in America.
Not only between America and Mexico. And that's another one of your interesting plays. It's called Türken and
Feuer, Türken.
Feuer. So Turkish and fire. Is that also about Europe in the widest sense, or?
No, it's about the story, the funeral in Solingen, and everything what happens there.
In
So-
Solingen, there were burned like, I don't know how many Turkish people, because like right-wing activists were burning down a house with people in it. And the young author, she's called Özlem Dündar, from Solingen, was making up a play about this, remembering this story.
Yeah.
Remembrance of this.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the Turkish or Turkish Germans are what you would call here, I guess, in the US, the biggest minority group. And as you can imagine, they once in a while they are target of right-wing activists. Okay.
Und meine Partikel schwirren in der Luft und legen sich auf die Gesichter der Menschen. Ganz fein wie Seide lege ich auf ihren Gesichtern, ihren Kleidern, ihren Händen. Und wenn sie ihre Hände reiben, dann reiben sie mich zwischen ihnen. Und ich zerfalle in Asche. Und in der Luft fliegen meine Partikel. Und ich fliege durch die Luft und vermische mich mit der Luft, die alle atmen. Das Feuer.
So it seems to be a very young play, like.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it in English, but it was a Uraufführung. When you do it,
world premiere.
The world premiere, yeah, and we had this world premiere in Marburg. We got to know to Özlem Dündar, which is a very young German author. Yeah, I don't know. And she offered us the play, and we did it first.
Yeah, awesome. Who was the director?
She's called Anna Frick, also very young director. She's also very famous on the run, like she's working for the National Theatre in Mannheim and so on. And she was interested in the play, and so she came. And it's actually quite big, with 7 actors on the stage. The mothers are speaking, the mothers of the victims and the mothers of the traders. Do you say that? The people who are doing it?
The people who did it. I don't know the word right now. Yeah. So the criminals, you could say.
Yeah.
What was the reaction of the audience to the world premiere? With such a difficult topic, really.
Yeah, it was very. The people were very interested in all the. Carola, what's the meaning of Aufführung?
Show.
Yeah, all the shows were full, and we had many
discussions.
Yes,
we had lots of young people in it, like school classes, like how do you say, high school age, and of course like how do you say, Fremdenfeindlichkeit, being angry with strangers, or being you know, like
afraid of foreigners.
Afraid of foreigners, yes. Is a problem in Germany once again, and it's getting more. And of course, there are many thoughts and really also many fears people are dealing with. And so this play was like the impulse to talk about all that.
Yeah.
To talk about the fear you have when you walk down the street and you meet people who are strangers, and also the fear when you walk down the street and you meet right activists, which you have in Germany as well. So, and how we can be like a friendly country, how we can really appreciate what Turkish people, for example, they came in the 60s, what they brought to our country. It wasn't only manpower, it also was like a culture they brought into it, and they are kind of, not all, but kind of integrated. And still there's like, we have a very diverse ensemble. We have people who you can say they might have a migrant background, and
migrant background,
yeah. And when they talk about their biography, you're really like, oh my God, we are not that far yet. We still have a xenophobia. Yeah, thank you. We still have a real road to go to be a real good country. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's yeah.
And this was part of the discussions. Yeah.
Interesting. You know, with these kinds of plays, I always think that they would be interesting to be shown in America as well, especially at this moment where there are so many civic uprisings, and where it really, I think these stories are related. They have their national specifics, but somehow it's all about the mindset of people.
I think you can have a look, because the WDR, the Westdeutsche Rundfunk, has made a documentary of this, and you can hear it in the radio. It's a radio play, Türkenfeuer, and I think you can find it on WDR.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to share it as well if I can. Okay, on a bit of a different note, I won't show the full trailer, but I like the first part of it so much that I want to show it. For the audience, we're going to open up the question. I mean, you asked already, and it's pretty fluent here, but I'm going to open up the mic. We can open up the mics in a bit, and we're going to, at the end of our time together, we will also do a little bit less than I hoped, but some more interactive element. I think about the Schiller-Spruch probably, but I wanted to show the cabaret definitely. Just I know I like the way it's cut up to a point. Maybe you disagree, maybe not, dear audience. But this is cabaret. When did you do that?
In 2019.
Okay, and why did you choose cabaret? Is this more because it's a broad audience that you could capture, or was there something else behind that the thinking?
Actually, it was also the political aim, because in the first place, cabaret is the story about Germany in the 20s, in the end of the 20s, and the streamings you realized there were nearly the same you have now. You have on the one side like dancing on the volcano, and like everybody's having fun. And on the other hand, you have really those conservative, very conservative right-wing perspectives and points of view. And so we did it because we also related to the German party, which is called AfD, in the stage design, because we saw really parallels or similarities between those days and nowadays. And of course, cabaret is the perfect match of entertaining and political theater.
Yeah, it is really. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play the first minute, I think, roundabout, and then we're gonna come to the question, to our interactive thing, and then to the end. But I love this. Up to there, I like that a lot. Okay, yeah, so that's cabaret. Yeah, good. So
I mean,
American culture has a place in German theater, it seems.
kind of, yeah. I mean, of course, everybody knows the film. I don't know if the film is as popular in America as it is in Germany. I don't know. I saw it 10 times.
Yeah.
Of course, Liza Minnelli is something. You can't reach her. But the story, which is offered in the play, which is based on this novel, I Am a Camera, is really very, very specific and very fine, because which is more pregnant in the play. You have the two love stories of Sally Bowles and Cliff, the author, like in the film, and you also have Fräulein Schneider and Herr Schulz, which is an older lady and a Jewish guy, and she departs because she's afraid of the Nazi, of the upcoming Nazi system.
Yeah.
So actually, the play, if you don't know it, the playwright, it's also a recommendation. But of course, you have Broadway, you know it. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So I hope we could give a good idea of how German Landestheater, or state-funded theater works, and also how artistic directors actually work, at least those two that we have as our guests. And I would like to end our session with asking for more questions. But if not, I would not want to miss our little interactive thing that we thought of. And maybe I'm sorry if you prepared more, but just the sentence, maybe the one sentence, because I think it wraps up a lot of what we were talking about. Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oliver asked us to bring our favorite play. I think we do not have time for that, but he also asked us to do something with you together. So I brought a sentence which is one of my favorite sentences out of German plays. It's from Friedrich Schiller. I'm sorry, not Goethe, Friedrich Schiller, Don Carlos. And the sentence is, geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit, Sir.
Yeah. Before we continue, I invite everyone to turn on their camera now. so that we can do this together. And also your mic. Hello, hello.
Hallo?
And most of you, I think, can speak German already, so das ist ganz gut. Dann können wir jetzt auch ein bisschen ins Deutsche übergehen. Und der Satz, den ihr habt, sag ihn nochmal oder sagt ihr nochmal?
Geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit. So please give, how do you say, freedom of mind.
Freedom
Geben
of
Sie Gedankenfreiheit. It's from
freedom
Don
of
Carlos.
expression, freedom of thought, yeah, something in that area.
Ideas, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very, probably one of the most famous quotes out of any German-speaking play. Nobody knows from which one. From which one is it actually?
Don Carlos.
You mentioned it already. You know.
Yeah.
Don Carlos. So
The-
Schiller Schiller is the best buddy, I guess, has been the best buddy of Goethe. If you ever make it to Weimar, that's where they both lived, and there's of course a lot of museums and everything, but and theaters only with their work, but also like a monument and everything. So they belong together a little bit, it seems. And genau, geben Sie. Can you repeat it?
Geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit.
Okay, and now we try this together. So I give you. We do this like this. We try out, and then we take the full sentence. So the beginning is, for those who don't speak German, geben Sie, and you need to repeat. Geben Sie.
Geben Sie.
Geben Sie.
Super.
And then now comes what we call a compound word in Germany. It's made out of two words. Gedanken is the thoughts. Gedanken.
Gedanken.
And then freedom. Freiheit.
Freiheit.
Gedankenfreiheit.
Gedankenfreiheit.
Very good. Gedankenfreiheit. And now I give you the sentence, or Carola, give the sentence once more.
Geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit.
And there you see, that's a professional there. And now ich zähle bis down from 3 to 1, and then all of us synchronous, and our directors say if we were good or not. This is a choir. This is a choir rehearsal here. You're under, you know, if you don't do this well, you won't get your contract. Remember?
No threats, Oliver, okay? No threats.
No, this is...
There is freedom in there, right?
Freedom. That's... This is... Too much theater. You saw too much theater. You're too free in your spirit. Okay. Geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit. 3, 2, 1.
Geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit.
What do you say?
Good.
Natural talents.
Well done.
I agree. The worst one of all of us was I, actually. I was way too late. So, yeah.
I think it's so useful. The sentence is so useful because so often I think geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit in so many contexts. I think geben Sie Gedankenfreiheit. Yeah, maybe it helps you through the day sometimes.
Through the times.
Well,
Yeah, it's very, I think it's really a good choice. That tells us why you're artistic directors, because you do you know what to come up with. Does anyone have a question for the last? Now is your chance.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And I will voice it in English or so. I'd be interested how you cater your plays towards all generations. You know, I mean, we were talking a lot about race, you know, different countries, oder ich kann es auch in Deutsch sagen, wie Theaterstücke also ausgerichtet auf alle Generationen, sodass sie alle Generationen ansprechen.
Yes, we have a plan that we make theater for all people. This is what we do. We don't make two groups or separate people. We have a place for people from 3 to 99. So that is what we are doing, and you can see it on the homepage if you want to, from Hessisches Landestheater, that our Spielplan ist nicht getrennt.
And I mean, maybe you're referring to how do we do it? Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, for example, we had a play, it was called Der Hauptmann von Köpenick from Karl Zuckmayer, which was very interesting because it was quite, how do you say, a conventional show. And the text was really taken very literally. But we were asked during the premiere celebration if we if we made it more actual, if we want to the present.
More contemporary.
Yeah, and somehow this play invited very young people who were laughing and invited very old people who read Zuckmayer and were like, oh, ancient costumes. And there it really worked. And sometimes all the elderly people go out and say, well, it was too modern for me. But sometimes also elderly people really prefer to go to children's theater because it's very short and it's in the afternoon. You know, you also have to consider, like, when do you offer a play? What time do you offer a play? How long is the play? So we really try different ways to ask people or to invite people. So, and I think the variety of invitations makes it successful. So, or Cabaret, for example, also worked because there was in Germany this, actually the TV series Babylon.
Babylon Berlin, yeah.
And so a lot of young people had in mind about the 20th in Berlin. The younger people, and the elder people were, of course, knew the film and Liza Minnelli and so on. And so we also got two,
different groups, for different reasons, basically.
Yeah. So, but we always keep on trying. We don't have the answer to your question. It's a very good one and a daily one of us, actually. Daily
no, I was just curious, so I didn't expect the answer. I just wanted to have yours, and you gave it. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, if there are no other questions, I would actually piggyback on that and say thank you very much. As the representative here of Goethe-Zentrum, thank you very much to our dear audience. And thank you for tuning in. And I hope you will tune in again next Sunday. And we have the theater critic Dagmar Fischer here. And also the Sunday after that, where somebody else will be there. That's still to be announced. And then I actually want to invite you, I think it's the 15th or the 16th of December. I think it's the 15th. Where actually a good friend of Carola will be at this point, Nino Haratischvili will be sitting here. And she is one of the great playwrights and novelists of our time, really.
Yeah, and actually, she was working here as a directress. We did a transnational cooperation with Georgia. Do you say that? Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia, the one in near Russia, right? That's the funny thing. We are here in Georgia, but there's the other Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, and she actually was doing a play which is called Radio Universe about the Georgian-Russian War, and we had 3 Georgian actors and 3 German actors, and we also went there. And Nino is a very, very recommendable person because she's a theater person from her heart and her soul. And I really can recommend this session because she's so inspiring. So if you have time, I like to be advertisement for Nino.
Yeah,
she's great.
I will send you everything.
Yes.
It's gonna be on the 12th. No, on the 13th, 12th or 13th. Yeah.
Gosh, it's great. Yeah.
12th or 13th of December. Yeah. Yeah, I have to say also, of course, then thank you, danke, vielen Dank an unsere beiden Gäste, Eva Lange und Carola Unser vom Hessischen Landestheater Marburg.
It was a
Ich bin
pleasure.
sehr froh, dass das geklappt hat.
Thanks for having us.
Sehr froh. It was very insightful. This is a recording, so we're gonna cut a little bit out, but I hope if you enjoyed it, tell others that you think may enjoy actually what we talked about, and bring them to the Goethe-Zentrum Facebook page or YouTube channel actually, and there you can see part of this at least.
It was
I would really like to know that many people saw this conversation. I really enjoyed it. Sorry.
It was a big honor with the Goethe-Zentrum to talk and with you in the audience. And I have to say, I'm very proud that you took us because we are a new model of directors in Germany, because we are two. And that's new, and this is very special. You don't have this in Germany, and we were the first, and now there come a few others, but it's very special that we can talk to you. Thank you.
That was very important to me actually, because it also shows, you know, you cannot think what you have never seen basically often. So I hope that this wave comes over to Atlanta now. Because I find the model very interesting, and I really like this emancipatory, like in general, emancipatory approach to the arts and to theaters and that matter. It's very genuine from your side, and I really appreciate that. Okay, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ich wünsche Ihnen noch einen schönen Sonntag und vielen Dank. Vielleicht, Carola und Eva, wartet ihr, wenn alle weg sind, können wir noch kurz reden. Okay.
Ja,
okay.
Tschüss.
Alles gut. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Vielen Dank.
Tschüss.
Ciao.
Tschüss.